Welcome to another edition of Our City. As we head into March, we've never had that big snowstorm, but the people taping this show think we're going to get hit in March or April with a big wallop. Let's hope they're wrong. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Thursday, March 5th at 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm going to attend the National Honor Society Awards, the induction ceremony and dinner at the Halsey Auditorium for that school. I look forward to meeting those honor students. And immediately following that event, I'm going to attend the Boys and Girls 2020 Youth of the Year Award. This takes place at the Galloping Hill Caterers at 5 Points in Union. And on Saturday, March 7th at 6 o'clock, I'm going to attend the Elizabeth Police and Firefighters, the 7th Annual Battle of the Badges. It's a charity hockey game. It's played in the One Ankle Park Ice Arena. And the only things that I root for are the police and firemen don't come away with any injuries so they can all show up to work the next day. But I'll tell you, what the police and firemen do in raising money for charity, not only this event, but other events, they do a great thing for many members of the community. And it's going to be the subject of tonight's show. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. And since I talked about the Battle of the Badges and the charity, I'm pleased to be joined on tonight's show by our guest, who was one of the organizers of that charity game, Officer Joe Pevonis. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for having me.
So you've been involved all 7?
I have been involved all 7 years. Yes, sir.
Well, before we get there, tell us about yourself. Police officer, how many years? And
I've been a police officer for 22 years, and prior to that, I was a police dispatcher here for the city for 2 years. And prior to that, I also worked for the Union County Division of Parks and Recreation at the Wernicke Ice Skating Center.
Oh, so can you skate?
I can.
Do you play?
I do play. I'm the team captain currently, and I've been playing for many years with many of the guys that are playing in the game this year.
Oh, so you have a summer league or a winter league or something
we do.
like that?
Many
club
of us,
league or something?
Correct. Many of us play men's leagues throughout the year, so we basically play hockey year-round. We play summer league, fall, winter, and we keep busy playing all year round.
So, Joe, before we get into the hockey game, you've been a police officer 22 years, but I knew your father, who's passed on for many, many years, but he was also a police officer.
That is correct.
Is he the one that kind of got you going, or?
He was more of a baseball fan. He got me started into the baseball. After high school, after I graduated Elizabeth High School, I attended Kane College at the time, which is now Kane University, and fell in love with hockey even more from there, and continued playing since college.
Well, how about being a police officer? Was he instrumental in that decision? Or?
He was 100%. He was instrumental in me becoming a police officer, as well as my uncle Jim, my dad's brother, who was a New Jersey State Trooper for many years, and my cousin Scott was also a sergeant here in Elizabeth. So it's been a family affair for many years.
Yeah, but your sisters didn't go into law.
They did not. My one sister did work for the police department at one time over in the court, but they never got into the law enforcement aspect.
So you're enjoying the career?
I am. I love it. It's I wouldn't want any other job. It's one of the greatest jobs to have.
So, Joe, the 7th annual, you've been involved in all 7.
Correct.
Some insight on how this game was first organized.
So my good friend Danny Byrne, who's an Elizabeth firefighter, he helped.
Who was on the show a couple of weeks back talking about fire department issues.
Correct. He's instrumental in all of this. We were attending the police and fire charity basketball game at St. Mary of the Assumption one year. And Danny approached me and said, hey, we should do a charity hockey game. And from there, it took off. That was our first year that we've had it. And here we are at year number 7 now.
So, Joe, one of the things with hockey is getting enough guys that can skate, right? Basketball, you can fake it a little bit. Softball, you can fake it. Soccer. But hockey, you need guys that can skate.
Correct. For the most part, we have our team is mostly comprised of Elizabeth police officers. We have some family members of Elizabeth police officers that play, and we have some officers from other towns, such as Westfield, Cranford, that join us. Only because of the low volume of players and people that can skate that we have, we went into an agreement with the firemen, because they have plenty of guys that skate, and they allowed us to have a couple guys come in and play for us during the game.
You do?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so... But you also have a woman on your team. Is Carrie Sharpnick?
We do. Yep. We have Detective Sharpnick. She's the one female that plays on the team.
How's she?
She's very good.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you check her? Do they check her?
They have. We watch her. We look out for her throughout the game and make sure nobody gets too rough with Carrie.
Do Do you check in this game?
We do.
Is that allowed, I should say?
Some light checking is allowed. We basically play a men's league rules where there is no hitting per se, as you would see in a regular hockey game. But it does get a little rough here and there during the game.
In putting the game together, what do you got to do? How do you get it going?
So our main thing was obviously getting the rink on board and getting the county on board with sponsoring the event there at the rink. Myself, I worked there. Danny Byrne worked there. Carrie Sharpnick worked there. Several of the players that are current, we've all worked at the skating rink. So that was the main hurdle. They had no issue with that, seeing all of us coming back that were former employees, and they've been fantastic since the first game with getting us the ice time there. And whatever we need, they've been great taking care of us there at the rink.
So that's the first step, but
correct.
The first time you did this, how did you recruit the players? What do you do? Go around and, hey, can you ski?
So essentially, that's what we did do. We had a core group of guys and Carrie that all played together, and then we started to reach out to other people that we knew in the past that maybe have played some floor hockey or roller hockey, things like that. And then got them on board.
But that's that's a little different than
it
being
is.
on skates,
It is different.
Right?
It is different. So we had a couple of open skates where we can go to different rinks and they have open skating. We all went together, skated a little bit, and kind of felt out who could play. And at this point, the roster's set and we're pretty good.
So how many players?
So we have roughly 20 players on the team.
And how many are on ice at the same time?
So you have 5 players on the ice at one time. That's including, or you have your 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and you have your goalie. So technically 6 players.
Is that the same as the big boys in the?
It is correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's 5 and
correct.
goalie.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know. I go to hockey games, but
Yes.
I don't know all the rules. So, has it grown? I mean, the first time you did this till now,
it has. It's grown way beyond what we could have imagined after the first game. And we're finding that the fans, all our family members, fans, everybody loves it. And every year the game has been a huge success since it started.
So tell me about some of the moments in the games. Any favorite moments?
My favorite moment would have to probably be last year's game, which although we lost, we did go into overtime, and then we went to a shootout, and we wound up losing in the shootout. But that was one of the most exciting games that I think I've been a part of so far.
So you lost in the shootout by 1 then, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
So in the 7 years, anybody been hurt in these games?
No one has been hurt. A couple of little minor bumps and bruises, but nothing serious. Like we said before, we all have an agreement and an arrangement. We don't go 100% full-on contact, which is good because, like you said, you don't want any of us getting
I don't want
injured,
anybody getting hurt.
obviously.
Yeah.
Correct. So we've been pretty fortunate, and we've been good in that respect.
What have been some of the scores? Have been 10-9 scores? Or like
no,
3?
nothing ever. All the games have been close over the years. There's never been a blowout per se. So it's always a good, close, exciting game every year.
So you're the captain. Does that mean you're the coach as well?
I am. We have a coach. We have Sergeant Kevin Marr, who is he's kind of our bench coach. He enjoys coming to the game and helping out with the team. This year we're going to have John Bastardo Sr. He's going to be helping out also on the bench as a coach. Just kind of keeping our lines together when we're out there and make sure we're all matched up accordingly with the firemen.
Does anybody get too tired to go?
Yes. Yes. Most of us do get too tired, but that's why we have the line changes, and we always try to have what we call fresh legs out on the ice ready to go.
So last year's game was a favorite because it went into overtime.
Correct.
Exciting goals have happened in here too?
Yes. Pretty much any goal is exciting when we score.
I guess at your age, right? Anytime
anytime we're able to put the puck in the net, that's a good thing. But our goaltending has been phenomenal for the police department and as well as for the firemen. David Bialis plays for them over there. I believe he's a captain now, and he always plays well too.
Do you play?
I do play.
And what position do you play?
So I play defenseman.
Okay, so you're not one of the guys scoring.
No, I can though. If I'm called upon, I could definitely put the puck in the back of the net, but I'm usually playing defense back there, protecting the goalie.
You prefer that?
I do.
You do?
It's a little slower pace for me. A little older now, I get to hang back a little bit.
We're going to do some commercials, Joe, and come
Sure.
back and talk more about the hockey match.
Excellent.
Please stay with us. After these messages, I'll be back with more with Officer Joe Pevonis and the charity game between the Elizabeth Police and the Elizabeth Fire here in the city of Elizabeth at the Warnaco Ice Rink.
What can we do to make an impact in our community? We can share our knowledge, be leaders, or simply participate in the 2020 census. The census wants our community to be counted accurately. That count informs decisions that affect funding for hundreds of programs, like Medicare, daycare, and arts education. When a community comes together, anything is possible.
Shape your future. Start here. Learn more at 2020census.gov.
The census, as prescribed by the Constitution, is extremely important for not only the constitutional districts, but also for roads, bridges, hospitals, community development block grants. Where do we stand with the federal government on future dollars that are going to be allocated to the states and the cities? So the city of Elizabeth is working diligently in order to provide a full count in our community. We've been working diligently with the Census Committee. We have our maps and everything approved. But most importantly, we have to put a team of people together that's going to go door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood, talk about the importance of the census.
We're an American original, dependable, historic, nuanced, with all the comforts of home, even when you're just visiting. So we're celebrating for all that we've left untouched and all that we've changed. A place where the past meets the future. So consider this your invitation.
We've been celebrating here in Elizabeth for 350 years, and we're just getting started.
It's all about power.
And money.
Almost $700 billion per year.
And it only happens once, every 10 years.
It directly impacts our representation in government
and the money that goes to
our communities,
our schools,
our housing,
our neighborhood programs,
our lives.
So what is it?
The census.
A population count of America.
But it's much more than that.
It's the basis of distributing power and money
from the government to our communities.
The unfortunate part is that a lot of us aren't counted.
And it's on us to change that.
When we aren't counted, our communities don't get their fair share.
For each person not counted, their community loses out on over $20,000 over 10 years.
For a household or a family of 5, that community loses out on over $100,000.
But we can change it.
When the census comes in the mail,
fill it out. Don't throw it out. Or do it online.
And make sure to count everyone in the household.
Little ones too.
Little ones too.
The census begins in 2020.
Most households will get a postcard in the mail next March telling them it's census time.
And we're required to fill it out.
The counts will be used to determine how many congresspersons each state gets.
And to draw new congressional maps in 2021.
It's also used to draw maps for basically every level of government.
From the state legislature to school boards.
So this is a huge opportunity for us
to make a direct impact on our communities.
It's critical that we are all counted.
So go ahead, take the pledge.
Pledge to be counted.
Pledge to be counted.
Pledge to be counted.
Because there's too much at stake not to.
I count.
I count.
I count.
I count.
I count.
We count.
Contamos.
We count.
We count.
نحن محسوبين.
Tayo'y kabilang.
We count.
I count!
Just minutes from New York City, we are the gateway to the state of New Jersey. Experience Elizabeth. It all starts here.
The census counts everyone in this country, and that really means everyone. A hospital patient, yes, that person counts. Newborn Benjamin, yeah, little Ben now counts. Two families that live in the same house, sure thing, they all count. Or David, who's living in his cousin Daniel's garage, he also counts. The census counts everyone to make things better for all of us.
Just minutes from New York City, we are the gateway to the state of New Jersey. Experience Elizabeth. It all starts here.
Welcome back to our city, where I'm joined by Officer Joe Pevonis, and we're talking about the charity hockey game between the Elizabeth Police and the Elizabeth Fire coming up in early March. So you told me that you play. You told me you have fun. You've been on club leagues and everything else. But why is your involvement in a charity game important?
Well, we just like to give back to the community whenever we can. This all started with the Shop with a Cop event at Christmas time and our PBA's involvement with the Children's Specialized Hospital. And that kind of rolled us into, it was the natural progression to get with them Children Specialized, and continue raising money for them.
So, Joe, how many total public safety employees are going to be on? You got 20 on your team plus coaches, right?
Yeah, I would say between the two teams, the firemen, they usually have a much bigger roster than we do. They have a lot more guys that play. But I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 40, upwards of 40 people altogether between both teams.
Do you guys practice together?
We do, actually. We play together. The firemen, some of the firemen and some of the policemen, we go to open hockey events, mainly at Warnaco Park and one rink in Union. And we all kind of play together. It's like a pickup game. You just kind of go, and everybody picks teams, and we play together.
So you told me last year's game was exciting because it went into overtime, and then nobody scored in overtime, went into a shootout.
Correct.
Firemen won in a shootout. But who's won the games over the last?
So right now, the record stands 4-2 for the police.
You're ahead 4-2.
Yep, we're 4 wins and 4-2. So
okay.
We're ahead
so
currently.
That's a good thing for the police then, right?
Correct, yes.
So, and all the games have been close?
They've all been close games, correct, yeah.
So you guys going to win this one?
I certainly hope so. We're going to try our best, that's for sure.
Now, I've been to probably 6 of them, I think. I missed one. I was away. But the attendance, I know the games I was at, pretty good. I mean, all those seats seem to be filled with family and friends.
We've pretty much gone to standing room only, and we've had to ask the rink for some portable bleachers to try to get in there to get more seating. But it's usually a sold-out, packed house every game.
It's chilly.
It is chilly. It is chilly. Hopefully this year it won't be too bad. But that's part of the appeal there, playing outside or partially outside. Warnaco's covered on 3 sides. But I love that rink. That's a great rink. That's where I grew up playing, and the weather's part of the game.
When was the first time you put skates on? How old were you?
Oh, my goodness. My dad used to take me over when you used to be able to skate on the lake in Warnaco Park there. And we
can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore. But that's where I first started skating with my dad and my sisters out there in the lake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And they weren't afraid to fall in back then? It was pretty thick then.
No. I think my dad made sure it was plenty cold and frozen before we went out there.
So how do you guys prepare for this? Do you get practicing? Do you skate? Do you do exercises?
So,
what do you do?
We try to practice when we can. Again, most of us already play on a men's league team, so the majority of us are playing daily. We had a game last night, as a matter of fact. So basically, we're playing in these men's leagues games once a week at least, and then we try to get to the open hockeys when we can. Danny Byrne runs an open hockey there at nighttime during the week. Where guys can just come and play.
But it's off hours, right? Like 2 in the morning or something?
Yeah, it's usually late. In the past, it's been around midnight, and then it's a little bit earlier now. It's kind of hard with the high schools and all the club teams trying to get that ice time. That's one of the main problems as far as getting the ice. We usually don't get it until later when the high schools and all the club teams are finished, and then
they have to get an open skating on sometimes too.
That's
right?
correct. Yep, and they have their public skating sessions as well.
So not only the entertainment is fun. You mentioned Children Specialized. Is that the only charity you work with? Is they the ones who get it?
Correct. That's the main charity that we work with, and we work with the Friday Night Fever program through Children's Specialized Hospital with Alexis D'Antone from the hospital. That program is basically geared towards teenage kids with disabilities that allows them to have dances, go on camping trips, and certain functions that they do for the teens there at the hospital.
So did you pick them because of Shop with a Cop, or is there another reason?
We did. It kind of just snowballed from there with the Shop with a Cop program. That's where I met originally some of the employees from Children's Specialized, and then I made those connections, and it kind of went from there.
So how much money do you raise at an event like this?
So all totaled, so far we've raised over $50,000 in the past 6 years, and we're just going up from there. And hopefully this year, every year we're normally somewhere in that $8,000 to $10,000 range total between ticket sales, and we do a 50-50 at the door. We do a raffle for an item. This year we have an autographed New York Ranger stick that we'll be raffling off. And we also do, this year's going to be something new. I think you'll get a kick out of this. It's called Chuck a Puck, where everyone's able to purchase a puck at the door. And then in between one of the periods, everyone from the crowd will be able to throw the puck onto center ice or onto the ice. And whoever is closest to the center ice face-off circle, it's like a 50-50. They'll win 50-50 of the purchases from the pucks.
That's kind of like that thing they do in golf, too, where they
closest to the
pin or something,
yes.
along those lines.
Similar, yeah. So everyone will be able to throw the puck on the ice, And again, whoever's closest to the center ice dot will be the winner.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's going to be interesting this year.
So you got to mark your
Something
name
new
on
we're
the
adding.
ice or something.
So
on
when
the
you
puck.
buy your ticket, when you get your puck, it has a number on it, which corresponds with your ticket.
You could keep all those pucks and do it again next year. It saves
Correct.
on overhead.
We are, yeah, we will be keeping the pucks, and we'll be doing it again next year.
I know in Shop with a Cop, the patients are actually with you. A little cold there, but do some of the patients actually come to the game?
They do. Some of the kids and the families do come out to the game. We try to get them on the ice for the puck drop at the beginning of the game. And last year we had a young man, James, who was a patient there at Children's Specialized, and he actually dressed, he plays hockey, he dressed in his gear and came out and actually skated the warm-up with us before we started the game, which was great having him there.
It is good.
Yep.
Are there any other organizations, sponsors, and other things that are involved in the charity game? How do they help?
So we have some sponsors. Some people wish to remain anonymous that make donations, but we have our PBA makes a donation, the FMBA makes a donation, the SOAs, and then we have some companies that do some merchandise for us that make sweatshirts, and we'll have hats this year, and they also make a donation during the game.
So I know you told me you thought the police are going to win this game. Naturally, you have a little bit of a bias there.
Certainly.
This is a really difficult question, or maybe it's easy for you. Who's the best player on both teams? Well, who are the best players on both teams?
Well,
I mean, because you're going to wind up cutting people out, too, in this answer. So
well, I
want you to be careful here, Joe.
I got to say our goalie, Joey Alicio, is phenomenal. He's fantastic every year. Brian Stajic always comes ready to play on the police side. On the fire side, we have Danny Byrne, who is just a speeder. He's super quick, and Jeff Alicio. They have a pretty talented roster on the fire side, but we're not.
But you guys keep winning.
We do.
4-2.
We do. I accredit that a great deal to our goalie. Joey always plays fantastic and keeps us in the games every year.
Okay. So give us a date and time before we wrap this show up.
This year's game is going to be Saturday, March 7th at 6 o'clock p.m. That's when everything will start. And we're hoping everybody can come out and join us.
And how do people get tickets, and how much are they, and can they buy at the door?
Correct. Tickets will be available at the door. They're $10, that $10 goes to Children's Specialized Hospital for the ticket. They can also buy tickets through any of the players. If they see any of us around, we all have tickets. And also, for any questions or anything, they can contact the Elizabeth PBA Local 4 or the Elizabeth FMBA, I believe it's Local 9, with any questions they have regarding the game.
So, Joe, I want to thank you for being on the show. I look forward to watching or kicking the game off, dropping the puck or whatever.
Absolutely.
And you guys have always done a great job, and I wish you and the firemen well, and enjoy the opportunity to raise money for a great charity.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate you having me on.
I want to thank Officer Joe Pevonis and all of the police and fire who are scheduled to play in the charity game benefiting Children's Specialized Hospital in Mountainside. I'm Chris Bolwage, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.